My girlfriend Serafina, who is always working overtime, suddenly texted me. I have a boyfriend now, please delete my contact, thanks. I slowly sent her a question mark, and then I saw that terrifying red exclamation point of doom. My girlfriend has a boyfriend, so who on earth am I? A potato? Serafina had been working overtime a lot lately. I was just feeling heartbroken over how busy she was, while simultaneously sighing because the time she spent with me was getting less and less. I was just preparing to bring some homemade soup to her company to visit her when I received that blue text bubble from Serafina. I have a boyfriend now, please delete my contact, thanks. At first glance I found it a bit hilarious. This silly girl is actually quite girly and dramatic. But why would she send this message to me? I slowly sent a question mark, and it turned out, the boyfriend wasn't me. My girlfriend, she had a boyfriend and I had been blocked. Seeing that red exclamation point, with my hot temper, I didn't even need to think before dialing Serafina's number. But before I could even interrogate her, I heard a man's voice on the other end of the line. Who is this? Wait, was there seriously a man right next to her? Honestly speaking, I couldn't believe my own ears. Serafina had always maintained her virtue, never letting any opposite sex except me get close to her. Even with the same sex, she kept a certain distance. Yet today, she actually let a man answer her phone. Where is Serafina? Tell her to answer the phone. I frowned, speaking coldly to the man on the other end. The man chuckled dismissively. Looking for Serafina? She is busy right now. No time to get to the phone. I raised my voice, almost shouting into the receiver. Sir, I advise you to have some self-respect. Serafina already has a boyfriend. Aren't you embarrassed to be clinging to her like this? After saying that, he hung up on me. If I was just angry a moment ago, now I was absolutely furious. I drove straight to Serafina's company, daring to sneak around with another man behind my back. She better be mentally prepared to face the music. It was a little past 9 p.m. Only the top floor of Serafina's company still had the lights on. The other floors were pitch black. Downstairs, there was only one security guard. Seeing me arrive, the guard looked a bit surprised. Mr. Felix, are you here to pick up boss Serafina from work? I didn't answer. I marched straight into the elevator and went up to the top floor. The entire office building was dead silent, but when I reached the top floor, I could clearly hear people talking. I burst into Serafina's office, my words of interrogation almost launching out of my mouth. But then I saw that her office was full of people. It seemed like they were discussing something. At this moment, everyone turned around to look at me in absolute shock. Being stared at by dozens of eyes, I unconsciously swallowed my saliva. But I still spotted the man sitting in the corner of the room, completely out of place in this environment. Right now he was wearing a jacket, looking at me with a smirking face. Oh, Felix, why are you here? Seeing my arrival, Serafina was very surprised. She stood up from her chair and walked towards me. Perhaps sensing that I was unhappy, Serafina looked a bit worried and quickened her pace. But she was still one step too late. The man sitting in the corner suddenly lunged forward, blocking my path. He even used his body to create a physical barrier between the two of us. Bro, we are having a meeting. Please don't interrupt us. He smiled at me and made a please leave gesture, clearly wanting to kick me out. But I just stared at him coldly, ignoring his existence, and looked right past him at Serafina. Do I need to step outside? Of course not. Serafina, with surprising agility, dodged past that man and came straight to my side. She wanted to hold my hand, but I dodged it. She was clearly shocked by my evasive action and cautiously asked, Felix, what's wrong? Nothing. You just keep going with your meeting, I said coldly. Serafina turned back to look at the people in the office, hurriedly pulled me inside, intending to let me sit next to her. When walking past that man, she directly treated him like invisible air. Serafina, who is he? The company is having a meeting right now. It doesn't seem appropriate for him to come in here. Being ignored, the man looked displeased, but still tried to squeeze out a smile and stepped forward to stop me from going in. Serafina stopped in her tracks, frowning at the man as if she had just noticed he was there. Caspian, why are you still here? Serafina, I am in a meeting with you. Caspian looked a bit flustered. What meeting are you having with me? Even the assistant to the general manager doesn't need to attend this meeting. You are just the assistant to the general manager. What are you doing here tonight? Serafina's voice was full of displeasure, not sounding fake at all. So, this guy had been sitting in the office for this long, and Serafina genuinely had no idea. The other people in the office also seemed totally caught off guard, looking at the guy named Caspian in astonishment. Serafina, this whole building only has your office occupied. I was scared to be outside, so I waited for you in your office. Caspian rolled his puppy dog eyes at Serafina with a deeply aggrieved look. Listening to Serafina's tone, this man was the assistant to her assistant, but he kept saying, Serafina, I'm waiting for you. It seemed the relationship between these two wasn't that simple. I crossed my arms and shot a side glance at Serafina. Feeling my gaze, Serafina stood up even straighter. Ah, Felix, he and I have absolutely no relationship. It was my mom who told me to arrange a job for him in the company. That's why I let him in. After saying that, she turned back and spoke coldly to Caspian. Caspian, today you told me you had nothing to do after work, so you took over the assistant general manager's tasks, which is why you stayed back at the company. Since you stayed, do your job properly. Don't show up in places you shouldn't be. Her voice was frosty. carrying a hint of impatience as she waved her hand, signaling Caspian to get out. Caspian didn't expect Serafina to make him lose face in front of everyone like this. He stared at Serafina for 2 seconds, then pointed at me indignantly. What about him? He is also an outsider. Why is he allowed to stay? Serafina turned around and glanced at him, having zero intention to explain. She simply and casually dropped 2 words. Get out. These 2 words made Caspian's face turn ghost white. He then turned around and left the office. I was so focused on the meeting just now I didn't even notice he stayed in here, Serafina explained while pulling me to sit down next to her. I nodded, signaling for her to continue the meeting. Everyone in the company didn't show the slightest bit of annoyance at my appearance. The meeting ended. Waiting for everyone to leave, I took out my phone and showed Serafina the chat screen from earlier. Explain. At this point, I honestly wasn't that angry anymore, but I still spoke with a cold tone. Seeing the content on the screen, Serafina's pupils shrank. She put her hand on my shoulder. Felix, wait a second, I will give you an explanation. Saying that, she stormed out of the office. I immediately followed suit. I saw her quickly locate Caspian, march right up to his face and hold her hand out. Give me back his phone. Caspian was clearly stunned by her freezing expression. His body swayed slightly. He finally took Serafina's phone out of his pocket and handed it forward with both hands. His eyes looked pitiful and somewhat suggestive. Serafina snatched the phone from his hands at lightning speed and opened the blocked list. Her whole face instantly turned pitch black. This was the first time I had ever seen her look like this. I curiously stepped forward to take a peek. Oh boy. On the blocked list besides me, there were several other male accounts. Looking closely, they were all directors or project managers collaborating with her company. Who gave you the right to touch my phone? I remember I left it on my desk charging. Serafina was probably so furious she couldn't control her volume. The department heads, who were packing up to leave work, all poked their heads out because of the commotion. Because of this volume, Caspian's body instinctively trembled, his expression growing even more wronged. Serafina, I just wanted to help you. You little weasel, you're helping me go bankrupt. That's what you're doing. Serafina was so mad her hands were slightly shaking as she looked at the people on the blocked list. I knew how hard it was for her to achieve today's success. She had painstakingly built this startup from scratch to get to this point. Now, she had blocked a bunch of directors and project managers from partner companies all at once. I was just about to step forward to comfort her when my phone started ringing off the hook. Without exception, it was all my friends on the Blue Bubble app who had been blocked by Serafina, asking me what on earth was going on. Looked like there was a phone inspection drama going on too. These people in the business circle, although polite with their words, I knew they were essentially interrogating me. I glared at Caspian, still a bit annoyed, and said to Serafina, "Handle this immediately." Saying that, I stepped to the side and started replying to my friends' messages. Luckily, out of respect for the Felix name, they weren't truly angry. Plus, Serafina's working capability was famously strong, and the overall strength of her company was obvious. After hearing that her phone was hacked by someone else, they all showed sympathy, especially after hearing that even I got blocked. Someone even reminded me to keep an eye on the relationship between Serafina and that man. After finishing chatting with everyone, my eyes darkened as well. Although Serafina had completely taken my side today, she still hadn't given me a proper explanation. Taking a few deep breaths to suppress the rising fire in my chest, I returned to the main hall. Unexpectedly, this time there were 2 police officers in the hall. Serafina was frowning, angrily saying something to them. Meanwhile, Caspian was trembling, looking at Serafina with a face full of disbelief. "Serafina, you called the cops to arrest me!" His voice was shaking. Seeing that Serafina was ignoring him, he turned to the 2 officers beside him, almost running over to grab the officer's hand. "Mr. Police Officer, we are friends. I was just making a joke. We have a very good relationship. You can't arrest me." The police officer, spooked, took 2 steps back and looked at Caspian with an indescribable expression. "Sir, this is not something you can just call a joke. You accessed this young lady's phone without permission and caused her actual financial and professional damage." The officer explained patiently. "We are not friends, and there is no joking around here. He is just a company employee," Serafina said coldly. "Comrade Police, please investigate thoroughly. I suspect he came to my company to sabotage us." Hearing this, Caspian's face turned as pale as a sheet of paper, looking at Serafina in terror. Seeing that Serafina wasn't paying any attention to him, and instead came to my side to ask about the communication situation just now, he finally couldn't hold it in anymore. "Serafina, I just feel like you are not the same as before. Now that you have a boyfriend, you should keep your distance from other guys on your chat app. I just wanted to help you." Caspian skillfully shed a single tear. He didn't look completely pathetic, but rather specifically pitiful. Too bad Serafina was burning with rage and totally blind to this standard picture-perfect tear. "Hey bro, what does my friend list have to do with you? You even blocked my boyfriend first. You don't want to help me keep my distance from boys? You want me to die a lonely spinster, don't you?" Saying that, she pointed to an avatar on the blocked list. "This Director Vance is the same age as my dad. Do I need your help keeping my distance from him too? Let me tell you, I am Fe, your boss. You do what I tell you to do, and if I don't tell you to do it, you don't do it. That's the rule. Do you not even possess this basic level of professional etiquette? After finishing, she turned to the police. This phone of mine contains many commercial secrets. He is a new employee, yet he dared to steal my phone, endangering my company's property. I request you to investigate this seriously. I stood on the sidelines watching, completely dumbfounded. I originally came here to catch a cheater, but ended up encountering a guy suffering from severe main character syndrome. I definitely didn't expect Serafina to straight up call the cops. This also made me feel much more reassured about the relationship between these two. Perhaps my returning to stand next to Serafina triggered this man. He struggled out of the police's grip again, charging straight in front of us, pointing his finger at my face and questioning Serafina. What about him? Why can he enter the office? Why is it that when you get a boyfriend, you want to draw a clear line with me, but you defend him with all your might? Is your head caught in a door? Serafina lost her patience. Are you blind and can't see he is my boyfriend? Can you not read the word hubby on my contact list? Stop playing your little mind games with me here. Caspian was scolded so hard he retreated behind the police, looking genuinely terrified this time. The police now fully understood what was going on. But since Caspian's actions had caused damage to Serafina, they wanted to ask if a private settlement was possible. But Serafina firmly disagreed. Absolutely not. Daring to send that kind of message to my hubby? Isn't this trying to ruin my love life? Unacceptable. Because Serafina firmly refused to settle, Caspian was taken away. Before leaving, he pitifully stood in front of Serafina. Serafina, I'm cold. Can I borrow this jacket to wear outside? Serafina glanced at the jacket and said flatly, That's not mine. Mine. That's mine. The design director, who had been enjoying the show this whole time, finally jumped out of the office. I casually put it on the chair next to boss Serafina earlier. I didn't expect you to take the wrong one. Give it back to me. Caspian turned pale with anger, ripped off the jacket, threw it into the design director's arms, and didn't forget to turn back and glare at me before leaving with the police. Looking at the hateful glare Caspian shot at me when he left, I couldn't help but laugh. What the heck was this? He provoked me and ended up bringing disaster upon himself. Later, Serafina told me that Caspian was the son of her neighbor. 10 years ago, that family moved to the north and only recently returned. As soon as they got back, they came to visit her family. The two families used to have a pretty good relationship, so now that they were back, they reconnected. Hearing that Caspian was looking for a job, they asked Serafina to arrange a position for him in her company. Serafina had almost forgotten this person existed. Who knew he would cause a disaster on his very first day? I felt a bit helpless and threw out a sarcastic comment. So it's another childhood sweethearts drama, huh? Who would have thought Serafina would instantly reenact it on the spot upon hearing that? I don't have such a manipulative childhood sweetheart. He's been causing trouble since we were kids, always loving to act pitiful, and then blaming everything on me. In the end, he'd act all wronged and say it was all my fault. Serafina mimicked Caspian's tone, said a sentence, and then shivered as if trying to shake off all the goosebumps on her body. In short, I don't want to be associated with him in this lifetime. This time, if my mom hadn't demanded it, I absolutely wouldn't have let him into the company. I heard that although he was taken to the police station, Caspian wasn't punished because he went crying to Serafina's mom. Under her mother's fury, Serafina ultimately chose a private settlement. I thought that after Serafina did all this, he would know his place and back off. After all, his clownish antics were way too stupid. But unexpectedly, not long after, he added my Blue Bubble account. Furthermore, he used a business card introduction sent by Serafina to add me. As soon as I accepted, the other side sent me a photo. In the photo was a large round table with quite a few people sitting around it. I only recognized Serafina's parents and Serafina herself. At that moment, Serafina was sitting next to the person taking the photo, smiling and picking up food for the photographer, looking both gentle and attentive. No way, Felix. You don't actually believe Serafina likes you, do you? She has always liked me. Today is the day our two families meet to officially discuss our marriage. Having gone through the previous incident, I didn't believe a word this man said. Last time's text message, if I hadn't immediately gone to verify it, and if Serafina hadn't directly called the cops, that incident would have definitely become a knot in our relationship. Therefore, when I saw the photo, I wasn't as angry as last time. I just casually called Serafina. The other end of the line was silent for a moment, probably finding a quiet place to answer. Felix, what's wrong? The woman's voice was cheerful. She seemed to be in a very good mood. Where are you? Serafina paused. Because we trusted each other, I rarely asked her so bluntly. I'm at the Starwood restaurant having dinner with my parents. Is Caspian there too? Yeah, today our two families are having a meal together. Serafina's answer was very natural. I couldn't detect a single trace of deceit. I stayed silent for a moment. Check your Blue Bubble chat. I screenshotted the photo and the words Caspian sent me, and forwarded them to her. Is he sick in the head? He isn't even sitting next to me. The person next to me is my nephew. Serafina was clearly infuriated. Saying that, she told me to wait a moment and hung up first. Not long after, she sent me a screenshot. The screenshot was from her nephew's timeline. Both photos were taken by her nephew. Felix, you should come here too. Today we must make everything absolutely clear. This Caspian guy is an absolute lunatic. I hesitated a bit. Your two families are gathering. Is it okay for me to come? Of course, why wouldn't it be? My parents really like you. Besides, if we don't clear this up face to face today and let Caspian keep harassing us, it's going to affect our relationship. Speaking to the last sentence, she was clearly a bit anxious and firmly insisted, you must come. I'll tell the driver to pick you up. Thinking about Serafina, saying she wanted to settle this once and for all, I changed my clothes and went out. Starwood wasn't far from my place. I arrived 20 minutes later. As soon as I arrived, I saw Serafina at the door waiting for me, her face still fuming. I hurriedly stepped forward to pat her shoulder and comfort her, but she still looked wronged. Thank goodness you came to ask me. If you were like those male leads in romance novels who just silently walk away, what would I do? All right, I yield. This whole thing was my bad. After a comforting hug, Serafina led me into their private room. When we entered, everyone in the room was talking and laughing. Seeing me appear, both Father Sterling and Mother Sterling were overjoyed, hastily calling the waiter to add a seat for me. Felix, come sit next to me! Father Sterling happily told the waiter to place a chair next to him. Coincidentally, it was also right next to Serafina. And beside Serafina, there indeed was a little boy under 10 years old. Next to the boy was Caspian. Seeing me come in, Caspian was clearly stunned, and his face turned ugly. Serafina, who is this? Why did you bring an outsider to our two families' gathering? The man sitting next to Caspian looked a bit older, probably Caspian's father. Seeing me sit down, he threw a sarcastic jab. Hearing this, Mother Sterling's expression changed. She gently patted the back of my hand, telling me not to worry, and smiled. This is not an outsider. This is my son-in-law, Felix. Oh, so he's Serafina's boyfriend? This young man keeps a really tight leash, huh? Serafina having a meal with her parents and he still has to tag along? The man sneered, dropping a line that made me look like an unreasonable, controlling boyfriend. Normally, as the younger generation, I should show respect. But some elders simply don't deserve my respect. Uncle, you misunderstand. This isn't a tight leash, I said. Didn't you say everyone here today is gathering to discuss my girlfriend's marriage to him? I can't let my girlfriend suffer a disadvantage, so I came to see what's going on. I smiled brightly, even looking provocatively at Caspian. When I came in, Serafina had already told me I was wronged and must stand up for myself. Hearing my words, both Father and Mother Sterling were shocked. What marriage discussion with Caspian? Hearing me drop this bomb, Caspian panicked visibly, knocking over the water glass next to him. What marriage? I don't know. Although his mouth denied it, his anxious demeanor made it obvious to anyone looking that he was panicking. Seeing this, Father Sterling put on a stern face. Caspian, Serafina, and Felix's marriage is something we will consider ourselves. You don't need to worry about it. You uncle. I really don't know what Mr. Felix is talking about. Caspian hastily stood up, frantically explaining. But his anxious look quickly morphed into a victimized expression. He lowered his head slightly, his voice trembling. Uncle, I know I messed up last time with good intentions, which gave Mr. Felix a prejudice against me. But Mr. Felix, you really don't have to slander me like this, do you? Saying that, he even fake sobbed twice. Exactly. Didn't our Caspian already clarify what happened last time? It was all a misunderstanding. He was just worried that Serafina didn't know how to keep her distance from other men and would make her boyfriend angry. That's why he did that. Caspian's mother hastily stepped forward to hug Caspian to her chest, then glared at me. Mr. Felix, showing up uninvited is one thing, but the moment you arrive, you target our Caspian. What's the meaning of this? Caspian grew up with Serafina since childhood. If he really wanted to compete with you, do you think you'd even stand a chance? Ha! I chuckled coldly. Although I had long seen that Caspian's mother was no ordinary character, I didn't expect her to spout such nonsense. But the person who reacted the most to her words was Serafina. She practically jumped up and shielded me behind her. Auntie, Felix didn't come uninvited. He is my boyfriend, and I told him to come. Furthermore, Caspian and I have never had anything going on. I have never liked him. Between me and my boyfriend, there has never been any issue related to Caspian. These words left absolutely no face for the other party. The faces of Caspian's entire family turned pitch black. Caspian lifted his head from his mother's embrace, looking at Serafina. This look could be described as incredibly crafted, both wronged and pitiful, exactly like an abandoned lover. The atmosphere in the room grew even more awkward. What's going on here? Everyone's sitting together for a meal, why make such a fuss, right? After saying that, she raised her wine glass, wanting to toast Mother Sterling. Mother Sterling hadn't spoken this whole time, but looking at her face, it was obvious she wasn't pleased either. Still, she raised her glass and clinked it with hers. Since it came to this, Serafina and I didn't say much more, either. After all, everything that needed to be said had been made perfectly clear by Serafina. Who would have thought that while we were ready to drop it, the other side refused to let it go? Originally, because of what just happened, everyone was eating very awkwardly. The person having the best time at the table was probably the little nephew sitting next to Serafina. Unexpectedly, just as the atmosphere eased up a bit, Caspian's father suddenly laughed and said, "Time really flies. Serafina and Caspian are all grown up now. I still remember the image of those two playing together when they were little. Speaking of the kids' childhoods, the Sterling parents' expressions softened a lot. Couldn't help but sigh at how fast time flies. But no one expected the man's next sentence to be, I remember back then, the two kids were even promised in marriage. Serafina said since she was little that she would grow up to be Caspian's wife. After saying that, he acted as if he suddenly realized he misspoke, turning to me. Mr. Felix, please don't mind it. I was just reminiscing about the kids' childhood. Arranged marriages aren't a thing anymore. We all know it won't affect you. I couldn't help but laugh coldly. Saying it wouldn't affect us, yet keep bringing up the arranged marriage? Hearing this, Serafina instantly got upset. Uncle, you remember wrong. I never said I wanted to marry him. Speaking to this point, Serafina seemed even more aggrieved. Because of that, since childhood, all the good food my parents gave me was taken by you to give to Caspian. I almost burst out laughing out loud. On the other side, the smile on Caspian's father's face froze. It took him a while to recover. Just as he was about to open his mouth, Serafina's father spoke up. Arranged marriage? Actually, there was such a thing. Serafina looked back at her father in utter disbelief. Dad, what are you saying? To everyone's surprise, Father Sterling ignored her and continued to smile. Like back then, it was you guys who kept saying the two kids were a good match and could be promised in marriage. We never agreed to it. Serafina nodded frantically while turning to me. Felix, I told you! He and I have absolutely no relationship! Caspian looked at Father Sterling with tears streaming down his face. Uncle, do you not like me anymore now? Before you used to say you really liked me and were willing to let me be your son-in-law. Just a minute ago, they said it wouldn't affect Serafina and me, and now they're talking about wanting to be someone's son-in-law. This man was truly shameless. Father Sterling smiled, picked up the water glass in front of him, took a sip, then grabbed my hand. I did say that, but that was only my willingness. Didn't mean Serafina was willing. Now Serafina has chosen Felix, so my son-in-law is Felix. This sentence was like a resounding slap to the face of Caspian's entire family. Caspian's parents both looked indignant and wanted to argue. Old Thorn, the feelings of the children are not something we parents should interfere with. Serafina and Felix are doing great. We also really like Felix. After saying that, he looked at Caspian again. We watched Caspian grow up since childhood too. He's a very good young man. But he really isn't suitable for Serafina. In the future, I will introduce someone better to him. Having said that, he raised his wine glass and downed it in front of Caspian's father. Caspian's father had no other choice but to force a laugh and drain his glass too. Clearly, he didn't dare to offend Serafina's father. Even Caspian's mother didn't dare to keep dragging the issue, obediently sitting and smiling. Only, Caspian stared intensely at Serafina, interrogating her. Do you really not like me? I don't believe it! Serafina straight up snapped. I just don't like you. Whether you believe it or not, what the heck does it have to do with me? If you didn't like me, why did you help me so much when we were little? When we were kids, the chubby deskmate stole my stuff, and you even helped me snatch it back. That was because if I didn't help you, you'd go home and tattle to your dad, saying I saw you get bullied at school and didn't help. Your dad would come talk to my dad, and my dad would scold me. You don't know how hard that chubby kid hit. I didn't want to fight him at all, Serafina exploded in anger. Caspian didn't expect this to be the truth, looking at Serafina in disbelief, but he still wouldn't give up. Then, in 7th grade, a girl wrote a love letter to me. Why did you beat her up too? I turned to look at Serafina in surprise. Serafina hurriedly grabbed my hand. What's even more infuriating is that you rejected that girl, saying you liked me. That girl came looking for a fight with me herself. I didn't want to fight her at all. She broke one of my ribs, you know? Honestly, I felt a bit secondhand embarrassment for Caspian. A grown man acting like a drama queen, making wild assumptions about everything. Simply put, acting all dramatic like a soap opera queen, claiming things that aren't yours and absolutely useless. Surprisingly, Caspian still wasn't ready to let it go. Then this time when I came back, why did you arrange for me to enter your company without a second word, and even let me be your assistant? I heard I was the only assistant ever parachuted into your company. Serafina clutched her head. That was because you went and told my mom that you still couldn't find a suitable job. My mom, out of the goodness of her heart, asked me to let you into the company. Besides, you are not my assistant. You are the assistant to the assistant general manager. I originally gave you an easy job because I didn't want you to mess up my work. As a result, you almost made me lose several clients. The more she spoke, the angrier she got. Finally, she flat out told Caspian, could you please get out of my life? Acting like a drama king, always making fake assumptions, and completely useless. In the end, Caspian cried and ran outside. After the banquet, I looked at the Sterling parents a bit awkwardly. I'm sorry, Uncle, Auntie, I ruined everyone's dinner. Instead, Father Sterling shook his head. No problem at all. We actually have to thank you for helping us see his true colors. He used to be such a good boy, how did he turn into this? Serafina mumbled from the side. He was never any good before either. I couldn't help but laugh. After confirming that Serafina's parents weren't angry because of today's events, I felt much more at ease. For a long time after that, I didn't see Caspian again. But his updates frequently appeared on my social media feed. Every day, He posted depressing, sour status updates that made my teeth ache from cringing. Occasionally, he'd even post highlight clips from his live streams, accompanied by encouraging words from his fans. Looked like he really planned to settle down as a streamer. But Serafina and I both felt lucky. Ever since the time he caused trouble, Serafina's parents felt that our marriage should be finalized soon to fend off any stray cats and dogs trying to flirt with us. My parents were also very satisfied with Serafina, so they had no objections. Thus, under Serafina's urging, we quickly set an engagement date. The whole family was busy. I was the only one whose main concern was whether the food at the engagement banquet would be tasty or not. Everything was going smoothly. The problem was, a few days before the engagement party, rumors started spreading online. A certain listed company's female director dumped her childhood sweetheart boyfriend to get engaged to a homewrecker. The third person, my name and Serafina's, were abbreviated as Miss Sterling and Mr. Fletcher and hung in the most conspicuous spots. Our photos were scattered all over the internet. In today's society, people absolutely despise homewreckers. Especially me, the one branded as the third person, who is cursed at viciously. Even my embarrassing, angsty old status updates from my immature days were dug up. I was completely dumbfounded. As soon as she heard the news, Serafina immediately called me. "Felix, don't worry, I will definitely handle this properly. It won't affect our engagement. Don't read the online comments, it'll ruin your mood." But I knew she was worried about me, so I replied telling her not to worry, while also starting to investigate on my own. The childhood sweetheart was clearly Caspian, so Caspian was the one spreading rumors online. But after digging into it, I felt a bit helpless. This man was now a minor celebrity streamer. He never publicly declared himself as Serafina's childhood sweetheart boyfriend. It was just that during last night's live stream, he kept making mistakes, his eyes were red, and everyone in the chat room noticed something was wrong. When asked, he gently wiped a tear from the corner of his eye, pretending to be strong, and said, "It's nothing, just that my ex-girlfriend is getting engaged." Feeling a bit sad. "But it's okay, my loves, I will stay strong." But how could his fans stand watching their male god suffer such an injustice? So, the righteous fans began searching for the spouse stealer. Caspian didn't want to say, but they still found Serafina's information, and naturally, mine too. From Caspian's previous status updates and clues on his social media accounts. Initially, it only spread within Caspian's fan community. Later, because of Serafina's status as a listed company director, it attracted more public attention. It caused Serafina's company's stock to plummet significantly. The problem now was, Caspian had never publicly said a bad word about Serafina online. Not a single sentence he uttered directly targeted us. Everything was dug up by the fans themselves. He only wiped his tears and advised his fans not to disturb other people's lives. When they got agitated, he claimed it had nothing to do with him. This made it extremely difficult for us if we wanted to sue him. So this problem was really tricky to solve. Serafina first used the company's official account to post a clarification, but it had no effect. Netizens only believe what they want to believe. Looking at Serafina being incredibly busy lately, yet still having to worry about me, my heart ached for her. Moreover, the company was something Serafina painstakingly built. Because of this mess turning out like this, she must be feeling terrible inside. But very soon, things took a sharp turn. Someone uploaded a video. It was us eating in the private room at Starwood that day. The video was slightly shaky, but you could still distinguish who was talking. In the video, Serafina stated very clearly that she had never liked Caspian, especially the part where Caspian was crying and asking about the good things Serafina did for him when they were kids, followed by Serafina's savage rebuttals. "No way! So there was never any homewrecker at all." Boss Serafina was so pitiful as a kid. This Caspian's family really exploited Boss Serafina since childhood. Boss Serafina is truly a saint. So annoying. I even cried for Caspian before and cursed out Boss Serafina and her boyfriend. In the video, you could clearly see Caspian continuously provoking Boss Serafina's boyfriend, claiming the family dinner was a marriage discussion. Caspian is truly shameless. In an instant, Caspian was criticized by everyone online. His comment section was completely under attack. It forced him to delete a few victim-playing videos and set his account to "Only I can comment." I didn't expect someone was recording a video that day. I hurriedly called to ask Serafina what was going on. On the other end, she laughed triumphantly. "We have to thank my nephew, the little boy sitting next to you. Because of Caspian's family drama, I didn't even get the chance to chat with that little boy that day." "Yeah," he said the moment you walked into the room. The whole family's expressions changed. He knew right away they were going to cause trouble. Out of habit, he took out his phone and recorded it. Didn't expect it to actually come in handy. I was stunned for a moment before saying, "He's only a few years old. How is he so street smart already?" Serafina disagreed. "Don't underestimate kids, they are very smart. This time we have to thank him for turning the tables." As soon as netizens turned around to blast Caspian, his side couldn't handle it anymore. He tried every possible way to take down the trending topics, but the heat of the scandal was too massive. He simply couldn't get it removed. I heard his mother personally went to Serafina's house to apologize, but was kicked out by Mother Sterling. Mother Sterling pointed right at her nose and cursed the Thorne family. Do you really take me for a fool? Because of our old ties, you said you wanted to return here to develop, and I helped you so much. Yet your family treats my daughter like this? Caspian's mother wanted to explain but only received one word: scram. But unexpectedly, driven to a dead end, he eventually came looking for me. He asked me to meet at a cafe. Thinking it was best to settle things once and for all, I went. Inside the cafe, the man looked haggard. I'm sorry about what happened online. I apologize to you. As soon as I sat down, he stood up and bowed his head to apologize to me. His eyes were a bit red, looking like he was genuinely remorseful. I smiled and said nothing. Getting no response from me, he stood awkwardly for a moment before sitting back down himself. But finding you today is to apologize. Besides that, I just don't want you to be deceived. Do you really believe Serafina's words, that she never liked me? Saying that, he pulled out a stack of photos. They were all photos I had never seen before. In the photos were two kids holding hands, smiling very brightly at the camera. There was even a picture of the little boy tilting his head and kissing the little girl. Both were laughing. But I didn't post these photos online because I didn't want to hurt you. You should be able to see how close our relationship was. It's just that she refuses to admit it now, Caspian said gloomily, looking pained. I flipped through all the photos, getting angrier the more I looked. They were full of intimate gestures between the two of them, as kids. Finally, I couldn't hold back anymore and slammed the stack of photos onto the table. Caspian, do you take me for an idiot? Caspian looked up at me intently, clearly not expecting me to react like this. Bringing out photos from when you were a few years old to provoke me? You were literally kids back then. What did you even know? I looked at him helplessly. But we were really close since childhood. We are childhood sweethearts. What she told you, stuff about never liking me, is completely false. Can't you see she's lying to you? He spoke as if he was trying to help me. All right, this time I genuinely laughed out loud. Caspian, you can pack up these petty tricks now. I pointed to the young man at the table next to us. That guy had been holding up his phone the whole time as if taking selfies, but his eyes were glued to me. Let me guess. Recently, you've been getting blasted online, so you decided to come find me, expose my girlfriend's lies, and get me to join you in denouncing her so she'd come back to you. Then you could post it online, pinning all the blame on Serafina, saying we were both deceived by her, right? Caspian's eyes widened, staring at me in sheer disbelief. How did you know? I sneered. If you just used your brain a little bit, you wouldn't be this stupid. Those photos have absolutely zero effect on me. Do you want to see the childhood photos I took with my neighbor lady? After saying that, I walked over to the young man next to us. By now, the guy was sweating buckets. I looked at the screen. Oh, still live streaming? Right now the whole screen is just people cursing Caspian for being toxic and praising me for being smart. At first I didn't really understand, but I never expected Caspian to have this kind of motive. I'm sorry, at first I really thought Caspian wanted to help Felix. Oh my god, how does Caspian still have the nerve to act tough? This is the first time I've seen someone so shameless. Seeing that the comments were out of control, the young guy hastily shut off the live stream. At that moment, a figure burst through the cafe door. Serafina practically charged in, saw me, and threw herself into my arms. You absolutely must not believe him. Those photos were all taken because his mom lured us into it. I was just a kid and didn't understand anything, she hurriedly explained, her words a bit jumbled. She probably watched the live stream but hadn't seen the ending part. I nodded and kissed her on the lips. Don't worry, I don't believe a word he says. Being kissed, Serafina finally relaxed. Her face transitioned from fear to a sweet smile. But when she turned back to look at Caspian, her face darkened again. Caspian, if you dare come ruin our relationship again, don't blame the Sterling family for not holding back. Saying that, without even glancing at him, she pulled me out, ignoring Caspian's wailing. After that, Serafina had the company post another clarification. This time, no holding back. They publicly exposed everything Caspian had done, including the incident where he stole her phone and was taken to the police station. Regarding this matter, Father Sterling specially apologized to me. He said that at the time, listening to the Thorne family on the phone, he thought Caspian actually wanted to help but accidentally messed up and got sent to the police station by Serafina. That's why he asked Serafina for a private settlement to release him. Finally, this strict father earnestly said, Felix, don't worry. You are the son-in-law recognized by the Sterling family. We will not let anyone bully you. As for Old Thorne's family, we won't associate with them anymore. Saying that, he looked a bit worried. In the future, if you suffer any grievances, just speak up like you did today. We will seek justice for you. Absolutely do not endure it in silence, end up heartbroken, and run away. It's not easy for Serafina to find a husband, you know. My future father-in-law, Serafina's dad, was very satisfied with me. He said ever since Serafina showed him those romance novels, he started caring about me more and more. The engagement day quickly arrived. Because it was just an engagement, we didn't invite many people, just close relatives for a few small tables. But unexpectedly, when my parents and I set off for the hotel, we bumped into someone. The person we bumped into was none other than Caspian, the guy who'd been cursed to hell and back on the internet lately. Eventually, he posted an apology video, but I didn't even watch it. I only saw many people saying his apology was fake, that he didn't realize his mistakes at all and kept blaming Serafina, saying Serafina led him on. In the end, he was scolded so badly he had to quit the internet. I didn't expect him to appear at my car. Stepping out of the car, I saw Caspian lying on the ground, his face pale and looking incredibly haggard. Seeing me, he looked like he saw a sworn enemy, but still tried hard to suppress his anger. "Mr. Felix, can you please let our family go?" I was slightly stunned. "Let whose family go? What are you pretending for? It's all because of you. Now the Sterling family is targeting our family everywhere. Our family's business can't survive anymore. Because of you, my family's going bankrupt. How can you people be so cruel?" he cried very bitterly. This time it wasn't the weak, delicate look from before, but crying so hard his snot and tears were mixed together. It made everyone around look at us. Some even pulled out their phones to record. He made it look like I had actually hit him with my car, but I coldly asked if he was going to get up or not. "Unless you tell the Sterling family to spare us and get Serafina to invest in our family, otherwise I will not get up. Don't even dream of getting engaged today." This time he wasn't whining anymore. He just wanted to save his family. But regarding the Sterling family making a move against the Thorne family, I had absolutely no idea. I never meddled in these affairs either. Just as I frowned and was about to call Serafina, my mom stepped out of the car. "Mom, why did you come down?" My mom shook her head, walked over to Caspian. She still wore a kind, gentle smile on her face, but the words she spoke were, "Your family going bankrupt has nothing to do with the Sterling family." Caspian looked at my mom in shock, clearly not knowing who this was. My mom continued, "Years ago your family moved north to expand. The first 2 years were okay, but later, because your father made bad business decisions, you lost all your capital. You tried to hold on for many years, but eventually couldn't bear it anymore and came back here. Once you got back, because you wanted to start over, you targeted the Sterling family. The Sterling family, out of respect for old ties, helped you guys quite a bit. But you were too greedy. That's why you targeted Serafina. Knowing full well she was dating my son, you still kept flirting with her and trying to destroy their relationship." No, I truly like Serafina. We are childhood sweethearts," Caspian yelled, shaking his head, his eyes full of sheer terror. But my mom didn't stop, continuing, "It's best you move aside today. Otherwise, if the Vance family up north, the ones you scammed, find out about this news, guess if they'll come looking for you? And guess who will protect your family then?" My mom, after all, was an experienced woman. Her aura when speaking was not something a young guy like Caspian could withstand. He practically rolled and crawled to the side, hastily saying, "Don't tell them, please don't tell them." "Then you better not delay my son's engagement time," my mom said flatly, then pulled me into the car. In the car, I curiously asked how my mom knew about the Vance family's matters. She chuckled coldly. "My son gets bullied, you think your mom would just sit back and do nothing?" Saying that, she shot me a reproaching look. "Next time something like this happens, you have to tell me earlier." After I promised and nodded, she told me what happened. It turned out that during the internet drama, my mom wasn't in a rush to handle it. Instead, she investigated the Thorne family situation. Upon investigating, she discovered that the Thorne family had long gone bankrupt in the north and had offended quite a few people. The biggest among them was the Vance family. Right now, the Vance family was busy with other matters, but once they finished, sooner or later, they would come after them. As for the local families here, after hearing the news my mom leaked, who would dare associate with their family anymore? The car crash incident was easily resolved. The engagement ceremony also went incredibly smoothly. But even though we were engaged, Serafina was still worried. She felt that until we were actually married, she couldn't rest easy. Lately, she had been reading a lot of angsty romance novels again. Occasionally, she would drag me to get health checkups. She was terrified that I'd be like the male leads in those novels, suddenly getting terminal cancer or something. I tapped her on the head. "Can you think of something positive for me, please?" Serafina rubbed her head sheepishly. "Okay, you must stay healthy. My hubby has to live to be 100 years old." The next time I saw Caspian was at a commercial cocktail party. Serafina was talking with some directors. Bored by the business talk, I decided to find a seat myself. Unexpectedly, I ran into Caspian. This time he was dressed very sharply, but you could clearly see how haggard he looked. Seeing me, he was clearly startled too. I could plainly see the rage in his eyes when he saw me. But this time, he didn't dare step forward and cause trouble with me. Instead, after seeing me sit opposite him, he hastily stood up, intending to leave. Just as I found it a bit strange, I saw a plump woman, around 50 years old, walking towards him. Seeing that woman, Caspian became extremely tense. Despite his utmost caution, he was still grabbed by the arm by that woman and dragged away. That was someone from the Vance family. Serafina, without me realizing, had appeared by my side. Remembering the Vance family matters my mom mentioned, looks like they really came knocking. I didn't know how much my mom helped behind the scenes in this matter. Did Caspian marry into the Vance family? She shook her head. The Vance family wouldn't want him. The Vance family had prepared the money they gave them, and now that money has turned into embezzlement. Caspian's dad has gone to prison. Caspian, forced by life, is following Helga Vance without any title or status. His life is definitely no walk in the park. Hearing that, I looked back at Caspian again. Sure enough, I saw Helga Vance pushing Caspian forward to pour drinks and entertain guests. "It's true, you really can't be greedy. Take me, for example. I've never been greedy. Even a silly goose who loves reading brain-rotting romance novels like Serafina, I still don't complain.